Alrighty, we're live for another Real Talk Tuesdays, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. My name is Just Messina, alongside Rob Shepard. As always, how you doing, Rob?
I'm doing great, man. How's everything going with you?
It's great. It's always good. It's always good to do these hangouts, especially when we're talking about vision, because I feel like this is one of those topics that kind of just like jumps off. There's like a million ways, million things to talk about, a million ways to go with it, and this is the second part of a three-part series that we started here. Last week we talked about how to really define your vision and really get down to what is it, how to embrace yourself rather than look to others or look to other external sources to find your vision, and kind of the basics of how you can start to go about that, how you can start to really find your vision. And tonight we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to look into how do you really craft your vision, and when it comes to crafting your vision, what kind of action steps you can take, and a little bit more on sort of the picture of this. I'm gonna actually, I know Rob always has some points to go over, right? Rob, you probably have some points ready. Am
Oh
I
yeah.
wrong?
Oh yeah.
And I'm also gonna share some of this. I have this lifestyle creation system, and I'm going to share some points on vision, and also kind of stepping out into your calling, or like your life's purpose. And we touched on that a little bit last week, but we're going to get a little bit deeper tonight. So with that said, Rob, I'm gonna kind of switch it up to this week, and allow you to kick it off. Again, we're going to go over, how we can sort of move forward in this idea of vision and how to take it into your life and your business towards the end of this hangout. But for now, turn it over to you, Rob. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, definitely. This topic is dear to my heart because it's funny how we when we came up with this, and I was actually thinking over the past couple of weeks, I just been seeing some things been happening, and where you're involved in companies and things go the opposite direction, and you've been driving someone else's vision, and because we were sold to join a company and you talk about their vision and they're like, yeah, 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 and it sounds like it's your vision, but realistically when something broke, you have no control over it because it's not really your vision. So when Justin came up with this topic and we said we're going to do it, I said, you know what, this is pretty deep, because reason being is we all have creativity, and you have to somewhat step back, like Justin and I talked about, really go after what we believe in and what our vision is. Like, our vision is to change lives and make a difference. It's not to stand behind, say for instance, a network marketing company and run around and say we're going to we're driving a vision because a company created something and we're running with it as our vision. And then, for instance, something goes wrong. Say the FDA came in and something, something. Say, for instance, someone gets sick of a product, and the company get into closed down or investigation, and then people started dropping off. Now we got to start from scratch again, because guess what? That wasn't our vision. So this whole subject is going to be about creating your vision. Make it be you. Like, I realized that my vision is to create a wellness to the universe, like letting people understand the true meaning of wellness, the true meaning of our healthcare system, which is no longer called healthcare. It's called a sick care, because it's not a healthcare system, it's a sick care system. So my vision and Justin vision is to drive that process out, to get the universe to understand how to develop a lifestyle change around this sick care that we're supposed to call healthcare. So now, when that is your vision, or for instance, if whatever vision you created, something goes wrong, you can rise above it because you understand how to move forward from it. But if it's someone else's vision and you're in their company, what are you really going to do? Oh, but let me go around, I'm going to reinvent the product that crashed, and let me wait for when they get up and running again. So I'm speaking from the heart, speaking from example, speaking from experience, because those things happen, and it's happening like right now, where things crash and we're waiting around to rise again, because we were running with someone else's vision because it was put in our mind to say, yeah, we got a vision and come into my vision. But realistically, you start putting your vision on the back burner and realize that, wait a minute here, I need to run with my vision and let your vision be second nature. Does that make sense? You understand my point there, Justin?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's huge because it is something that when you, I think we did touch on this last week, when you get started in something that is not your own, which is how most people get started. I mean, it's just natural for that to happen, right? You're not going to come out of the womb and be like, yeah, I got this crystal clear vision, let's go, follow me. But yeah, you get started with something, you're trying to leverage other people's products, other people's services, so that you can start to move forward in business. And then from there, it's going to be a losing battle until you start to really get clear on, okay, I have to craft a vision so that it's okay to have those things. It's okay to have, you know, um, affiliate products, network marketing company. It's okay, but it needs to be secondary to what you're creating. So you create something, and then what fits in here. So that we talked a little about that last week, and instead of the other way around, because if you're like, I'm a wellness coach for this company, and you're not a wellness coach independently because you did your due diligence and you got training, or if a lot of people say they're health coaches, which can drive us mad a little bit. Not mad, but it's one of those things people without any sort of knowledge or certification or education, they'll just say, okay, I'm a health coach, but that title actually came from a company saying this is what we do. We're fitness coaches, or we're health coaches, or we're wellness coaches. When in reality, those people, they're putting all their eggs in that basket, and everything they do is around how do I build this business with myself as an affiliate attached. So they have absolutely no control in that scenario. So if you are in a position where you're marketing a business or someone else's product, just think about it's not right or wrong, but think about what happens if that company disappears tomorrow, right? So just have a method of moving forward, because honestly, some people are super visionary types, and some people are absolutely right to go the network marketing route as a primary source, but you just need to be able to take care of yourself and not be shocked when things go under, and prepare yourself. And I think I wanted to kind of go down this road a little bit of how what it can look like in real life. We're talking about these examples of network marketing primarily is kind of that kind of model is what we're discussing, but I want to take it to a more real level, to maybe someone listening right now that is not necessarily in that world. And I want to bring it into something very common that I've talked about before on this show, and that is this process that we go through in getting a college education, right? And what happens is, the education system's set up so that they can basically place people into jobs. It serves a purpose of filling needs in our society that are there, right? So if there's a need for doctors, they're going to be putting more people, a higher, or let's say a wider range of people who are might not be particularly, their skill sets, their nature is not necessarily a doctor, but they might be like on the fringe. But because doctors are in need, then we're going to widen that range a little bit, and we're going to put more people into this program, as many as we can. So just, it's important to realize things like that can be going on, because the goal of the system is to produce for the need, right? To fill that need with people. So in that sense, if you're not keen on, okay, what is my vision? How can I actually craft this vision so that I can move forward strategically? As an entrepreneur, you're a little bit more forced to do that. But just in general, if you go through like the college route, for instance, it's like the path most traveled. And if you're going to stand out and do anything of real significance, really do something different and meaningful, you're going to take the path less traveled. It's just sort of like a law of the universe. And I have this interesting question I wanted to just pose because it's a question that is very out there, but it's like a lot of times you can ask yourself a key question and really come up with like a new uh, a new arena of answers that you never even considered in your life before. So questions are huge, and I want to ask this question that to set it up first, I want to say that you know the movie The Matrix. It's like people are living in a world and they don't know they're living in a computer world, and there's a whole other real world that they're not seeing. So they're just sort of like zombies in their life. Well, this sort of is, in my opinion, it's sort of accurate, but instead of the outside world, it's more of like in our minds, and our minds see what we see, and we're not aware of things until we basically force ourselves to look at something and say, okay, let me look at this from a different angle, or let me start to become aware of a certain area of my life, and then things start to change. You start to see more possibilities, more angles to a particular situation, right? So the question I want to pose is, if it were up to you, how would you design the world from scratch? And that's a very like just very huge, the world. How would I design the world if there was just no structure and anything around us? How would you design it? How would you create, would there be a government? How would you enforce laws? How would people, just simple things like how would people relate, relationships? How would that really work? So if you just think about that and start to write down just it doesn't even have to be that broad. It can be like a more specific question like, how would people choose their careers? You know, Rob shared a little bit about his vision. Part of how I got here, and I'm a health coach who also loves the business part of health coaching, where I can help other coaches as well. And that is something where, for a long time, I always felt that. I always felt the business drive, but it kind of, I needed to open up my own mind to let myself go down that path, because when you're starting a business, you're like, well, I can't really help other people with their businesses, because how can I do that? I'm not there yet. I'm not an expert. And that's what a lot of times society, like the systems in society, teach you, because you're not an expert because you get a degree, right? You're not an expert because of somebody tells you, okay, now you're an expert. You can make that decision, and I think I'm qualified to say this because I have a master's degree, and I know what that system's like, and I know what this other world of entrepreneurship's like. Getting a degree does not make you an expert, and because you don't have a degree doesn't make you incapable of being an expert in that area that you don't have the degree in. So that's where I wanted to start. And before I go completely all over the map, I'm going to turn it back over to Rob. If Rob's there, I'm not sure, but I think he might have stepped away for a second. Yeah, he's got a kid to worry about there. So I'll just continue a little bit with this topic. So getting into uncovering your vision. So if we're gonna look at how do I take like logical steps, right? What is the process here? So when you first start to disengage, like we said in the last video, if you disengage from the world, you start asking yourself questions that are more progressive. They're more creative. They're not tied to the inner workings of society as they already exist. I'm getting a little deep, but you can ask yourself those kinds of questions, because now you can start to design your life in a different way, right? You don't have to put your life into all these little boxes of what is already in existence. You don't have to live your life at a job at a 9 to 5. You don't have to work that way. Like most people, their whole lives, it's just, this is what I have to do. I have to get a job, and I have to make that money, and I have to pay my bills, and bills are tough, and money's hard to come by, and it's just that whole story. And if you're in that story, realize that you're in that story because you were placed in that story, and that's not necessarily your fault. So you can choose to go a different route, right? You can choose to completely go a different direction and say, that's not going to be my story. that might be where I started, but that's not where I'm going to finish. Um, when you get the ballpark of what you want your life to look like, right? You can start to write down things like what do I want for my job? What do I want for my family? What do I want for my relationships? At the end of the day, your vision has to be tied somehow to like a personal. It has to be a people-related vision, especially if you're considering vision based on a business that you're in. It has to be a person-related business. What do the people look like? What does your entourage look like? What does your crew look like? What kind of people are they? Who are you going to surround yourself with? Who are going to be people who are going to work with you? So all those kinds of things are so huge when you start to look at this. And once you have the ballpark, then you can start to get into like, okay, how am I going to actually take action and get results in other people so that it starts to move, right? Rather than just sort of, meandering around and saying, okay, I'm going to do this vision. This vision's awesome, and then sort of not go through with it, because at the end of the day, you're going to always need people around you, or else you're just sort of, imagining things. So from there, you're going to get more and more clarity and purpose, not through thinking about your vision and continuously doing the activity, but through actually acting on it and getting other people on board with it, and having something that other people are willing to get on board with, where you can have similar visions with other people and you can work towards a common goal. And that's how every truly great movement happens. So, hey, Rob, are you available right now, brother? Or what? Okay, I just wanted to see if you were there. Yeah, I'll turn it over to you, man, because I've been talking for a while. I'm gonna grab a sip of water.
Oh yeah, no, you're good, man. Yeah, but and back to it again. I just feel like the reason why I brought up that subject about that, because like I said before, sometimes you see so many people are promoting other companies and ripping, running, going at it, and not branding themselves and thinking that, oh yeah, I got a vision going because I'm promoting health, or I have a vision going because I'm promoting this company. But realistically, like I said, when you crash, man. But at least Justin Messina Enterprise ain't gonna crash, because you brand yourself. So at the time, when that time comes, you know that something's going wrong. While when you're in a company, you don't know that something's going wrong until when you crash, and they're like, oh, by the way, this is going on, and you're like chasing it now, trying to make ends meet by getting to another company or whatever it is. But if you brand yourself, you will always have the following going behind you and know how to move forward. So craft your own vision and look at where you want to go within your life, and come up with the points, make some good detailed notes. And I give you a quick tip: spend quality time with yourself. Don't always look to being out in the clubs or doing all this type of stuff. Quality time with yourself. Like, for instance, I'm driving to Connecticut a week ago, and I drove 6 hours with no music. And the reason why I did that, because I was crafting a whole lot of vision. And that's when I could go over tips on what came out of that. I'm now branding Dancehall Reggae Fitness, putting a brand behind it. I'm getting Shepherd Fit up and running, which that's been like my vision for how long, and realize that I'm going to back off from all these other stuff that's going on. I'll still do them on the side, but I got to make sure that my vision come first, and whatever that company's come second. And you always have to remember that, because your vision is more important than anyone else's vision. And don't ever let anyone tell you, oh, come on, let's look at what I'm doing because it's so great. And then you start promoting their brand, and while your brand's sitting around wasting time, and their brand is rising. All right, so back to you, Justin.
Right, and that's so cool, because something that Rob and I are part of is like the Vision Fit movement, which is helping other coaches, other entrepreneurs, like really move forward in their own vision, so you can work towards a common goal, which is, how can we drive our business forward? How can we stay within ourselves and still do it as a group, because we have a very similar interests, but at the end of the day, we can all move in the same direction, right? So that we can take care of ourselves, and we're not attached to something external that, like Rob said, Rob and I both know what it's like to be part of something where we don't have the clarity of what's actually happening behind the scenes. You never do if you put yourself in that position of just like relying on another person or another company like that. So that's definitely huge. And I kind of want to get into some things about. I want to share some stuff with the. We're probably only going to go for another 5 minutes here. I'm going to share some stuff on the lifestyle creation system that I created, and the the first two modules of it is actually not module one is all about it's the legacy module, and the third activity in it is called living legend, and that really flows right into the next module, which is actually vision. So in the legacy module, I actually quoted Steve Jobs, and he said that being the richest man in the cemetery doesn't matter to me. Going to bed at night saying that we've done something wonderful, that's what matters to me. And that's huge because, I don't have to say why it's huge. You can feel it. You can make money, you can do things, you can be attached to other people, but at the end of the day, what does it mean to you? Does it mean anything? Is it completely empty? It's like when you think about what is, Tony Robbins does this rocking chair visualization exercise where if you were 90 years old, or if you were just about to die and you're in your rocking chair, what are you going to remember about your life? Is it going to be is it going to be the business that you're associated with? Is it going to be a ball game you went to, or a TV show you watched, or whatever? No, you're not going to think about those things. And there's been studies done, and there's been books written about what are the basically the what's the word? People regret things at the end of their life, right? And people regret like what they didn't do. And most of everything around visualizing your life, what was important to you, it comes down to moments, and it comes down to relationships, and that's what people remember. Chances they didn't take with people, like telling people how they feel, or even going after a cute guy or a cute girl, right? And just saying, I wonder where that would have went. So things like that are so important, and that's where like this legacy module is huge, because with that Steve Jobs quote, it's like you're gonna leave it all on the table, right? You don't want to, or leave it all on the field. You don't want to like hold back in your life, right? And say, okay, well, I'm gonna do this because I don't have the courage to do this myself, so I'm just gonna like go off over here and see what this person's doing, or I don't really have the expertise in this yet, so I'm not really gonna teach this. And this can happen all the time, and usually it's just sort of like this is, again, nobody can tell you, okay, this is how you can be more confident, or this is how you're going to follow your own vision, or this is your vision. No one can tell you any of that, or even that you're an expert at an area. You just have to be able to break through those things by just everything, in neurolinguistics, it's like all comes down to being aware of what it is that you need to move forward with. So first you're going to understand what challenge you're facing, then you're going to understand your actual thought patterns around it and your actions, how you actually in reality react to whatever's happening, whatever that challenge is. And then once you become aware of that habit, you need to start to adjust the habit. That's how you change, in essence. And the faster you can do that, the faster and the grander scales of life that you can get to, right? And I know I'm right in this. I'm sure Rob's right in this too. It's like we're all at a certain place, but as long as you keep moving, then you are going to do things great. If you stay on this track. So a little bit more on legacy. Okay, so what will be your legacy? Think about what you want to leave this world once you've passed. How are you going to have impact in the next 20, 30, 50, and 100 years to come? So that's very important to some people. Some people it's not a huge importance. But again, it can be your relationships, your experiences in life that you want to really build. What will be your claim to greatness, right? So what you have is already inside you, and it will be an extension of your life purpose. Your deep desire, your passion, your natural giftings are in alignment, and you become aware of this alignment, and you can embrace it and start to live it. So that's a little bit on that. And as far as uncovering your vision, last week you talked a little bit about it, but what is it that you're naturally gifted at? What areas in life are you naturally drawn to? What type of people or professionals do you compare yourself to? People that you might think you might have a feeling like I can do it better than them. Like they might be really good, but you feel like this competitiveness when you might not be a competitive person, or it's just a different type of feeling like, I can really do that. I'm going to do that better than they're doing it because that's what I'm meant to do. You're not telling yourself that's what I'm meant to do, but that's sort of the underlying feeling, right? So and then how do people what do people look to you for? You know, when I was younger, I always remember there were people in my core group of friends that would come to me when things went wrong in relationships, or when things were not right in their life. They needed to make a key decision. They didn't know how to go about it. So I was already coaching when I was, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, but I never saw it that way until I really dove into this stuff. And when you start to see the connection between things in your life, obviously the more experiences, the better. So you can start to craft that vision even more. So with that, Rob, I'm going to let you jump in here, and we'll close out in a minute or so.
Yeah, man, Justin, that's a great point. That lifestyle guide, if you guys ain't get it, you got to get it. That's an awesome guide because it helps you to kind of look at where your life is today and where you're going. And the steps that's in that lifestyle guide that Justin was talking about is pretty awesome. So it's like you have to start just think about where you want to go, where you want to be today. A matter of fact, I have my friends over here, and we was actually talking about this right now because sometimes when we work for certain companies and we're so busy driving what they want, the process they're looking for, and you're only as good as today. It's like sometimes our days are numbered, no matter how we look at it. And no matter if we're working for someone, no matter what we're doing with that company, our days are numbered. So it's like start thinking like where your vision gonna be, what you want to do within your life, what you enjoy doing. I have people sometimes will ask me, so what do you think I enjoy doing? And I'm like, you got to figure that out. I mean, if you want to pay me to help you, we can do that. But you have to kind of say what you love to do. Or you want to be a photographer, or you love modeling, or you love bodybuilding, or you love internet marketing. What do you have a passion for? So it's like you got to ask yourself those questions like, what do I like doing? What I love doing? What I enjoy doing? When you sleep at night, would you willing to give up 6 hours of sleep to get to and only sleep 2 hours to really go after your vision and your goals? I use myself for example. I'm a health coach. I know we're supposed to sleep 6 hours. I know I'm supposed to sleep 8 hours, but my vision does not allow me to do that. So when you want to craft your vision does not allow you to sleep for 8 hours. No way possible. So if you're Google Hangout and you're thinking to yourself, how do what time I have to put in? Let me be honest with you and blunt with you. Your vision gonna take time, passion, and hours because it's your vision. But think about this now. I work a full-time job, 10 hours, 11 hours a day, sometimes 60 hours a week. Is that time putting in? Of course. So why wouldn't I not want to put time into my vision that I'm crafting and hours into my vision that I'm crafting? So that's what I'm going to leave you with, just for you to think about that. So when it comes to your vision, you're going to work. It ain't going to come easy. So you have to start thinking like what you love to do and go for it from there. Back to you, Justin.
Awesome stuff, Rob, because it's so true, man. It's also true. Like you just need to embrace it yourself. You need to go in the direction you want to go in, and nothing else really matters. Think about 10 years from now, 20 years from now, like what's going to really matter to you. If you don't go after what you truly believe, like what you feel like in your heart, in your gut, if you don't go after that, there's gonna be regrets. Like you're gonna regret stuff, and I actually, it's sad when I see it, when I see people that they talk about something with such passion, and so much that they want to go in a certain direction, but they just feel like handcuffed. They feel like they're stuck in wherever they're at, and they actually believe that that's the only that's the only path for them. And that's one thing. I hope that these hangouts, like one of the things that I really hope that this does is inspire someone out there to just like really embrace that there's a new way, there's a new path. Like I know growing up, I didn't have people around me that necessarily believed that there was another way, that there was a better way, that they saw beyond today. And that's huge because like Rob says, you're only as good as today. Like you can only you can live in the present moment, and you should live presently, but you need to be able to do that while you're looking forward and seeing something that's not there. And that's really what faith is. Faith isn't really about religion or even spirituality. Faith is really believing something that's not there, and that's how everything in this world became in existence. That's how everything was created. Someone believed it and saw it and visualized it in their mind, and then it became reality. And that's what you have to do when you're making radical changes and moving forward into a vision. So with that said, we're going to wrap up for tonight. We'll be back next week for what is very likely might be the last hangout that we do for the year 2014, and we'll be back after the new year. So with that said, Rob, how can before we go, how can people reach you if they want to reach you, brother?
You can reach me at shepherdfit.info, and that's shepherd like in the Bible, fit.info. But I just want to talk to you, just a little piece about vision. Remember what we were talking about, crafting your vision? You see what I'm doing right now? I'm in the middle of a Google Hangout. Here's my friend over here, and guess what we're doing? Crafting a vision. We're talking about we got to start masterminding. So in the middle of doing this Hangout, that's how important your vision got to be, that you got to be able to can do a Hangout and go outside and say, hey, you know what? We got to start masterminding. Here's where we need to go, because our window of opportunity within whatever we're doing or wherever we're working for, it's very limited, because we're only allowed to get but so far. So dig deep, start looking into what you love to do, and start crafting your vision. And if you need help, you know where to find Justin, you know where to find myself, because like I said, my vision don't allow me to sleep. And you know what my vision is? Involve around changing lives and making a difference and impacting the world. So think about what your vision is out there to do. Thank you so much for checking this Hangout. Back to you, Justin. Have a blessed one.
Alrighty. Awesome, Rob. Awesome. And you could find me, Justin Messina, justin-messina.com, on social media at JMSLife, and on Facebook.com/TheRealMessina. So we'll be back next week to conclude this vision series, getting even more in depth and sort of how to expand on, once you really have a ballpark picture of your vision, how do you expand it? How do you make it something bigger? And how can you stay on track as well? So with that said, we're going to close out like we always do by saying, live vision fit, we're out.